I think grandfather and Tolkien was just periodic. So Harwood, grandfather and Lewis, they were friends at university from the first term of the first day at university. They were friends, and it was Leo Baker who introduced them, who was also an anthroposophist. So they had this kind of friendship, whereas Tolkien was a kind of colleague at the university, in a faculty colleague and things. And grandfather met him on a number of occasions. As I say, Lewis introduced him from 1926, and they went on walks, particularly in the 30s. Tolkien had his own views. My family's Catholic, so I'm comfortable with, Tolkien's Catholicism. That's fine with me, but, that's just different to the others. Actually, Lewis and Tolkien, by the end, they couldn't stand each other. They weren't even talking to each other. These things come and go, friendships go up and down a little bit. Grandfather really liked The Hobbit, for example, and I read The Hobbit. There's very strong approval of The Hobbit in my household. But Lord of the Rings, it just gone too far with it. It's not something that engaged the Barfields. I mean, I've read it. Yeah. I like it. I think it's great book, and I'm a big fan of Tolkien. But I'm a fan of Tolkien in this sense that bring it on, bring it in. Anything that brings attention this way.
Beautiful. You're correct, at least in my experience, with respect to the nature of the friendship when it's forged at that very outset of university days. I just returned from a trip where I saw my college roommate, he and I met 34 years ago, the first week of college, and we pick up just as though no time has passed. There's something very unique about that bonding that happens.
Well, friendship is very important to grandfather. He valued his friends, but I think a key element there is humor as well. So throughout the Inklings, they had humor, and there's elements of humor from their walks together. So it was a walking, talking, and they were having big disputes and sort of almost going to war. But there was always an element of humor underneath it, always humor. And without humor, I don't think you can make any sort of spiritual progress. Now, got to be careful. We're not talking about ridicule. We're not talking about nasty humor. We're talking about gentle, kind of loving humor. And that's very important.
Yeah. I'm curious if there's, you've probably addressed it already. My question was going to be regarding the notoriety of Lewis and Tolkien relative to Barfield or Charles Williams, say, who is often mentioned among the Inklings. And as you say, perhaps it's just a matter of time.
Well, they wrote some really powerful and phenomenally successful books, which were easily accessible. Children's books, the Narnia series, the Hobbit series, these are great books. You can't take that away from them. They did that. But the Narnia series, the first one was dedicated and written for my aunt, Lucy Barfield. The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is for Lucy. C.S. Lewis was her godfather. And he wrote it because he took his duties as godfather seriously. And the third book, Dawn Treader, that was written for my uncle Geoffrey. So the two of the children in the household, Lewis wrote those books for. But they both learned to write that through the Silver Trumpet. Grandfather published Silver Trumpet in 1925. So this is a centenary year of the Silver Trumpet being bought. They almost had a proof of concept with that book and how it had, how well it was received by Tolkien's children. But it was almost too early, so grandfather didn't become a bestseller from that book because it's, 1925, just too early. They just missed, it's a question of timing, isn't it? That's why grandfather's a first and last. He's missing that middle life. Also, I must say that the middle way is always the way for grandfather. We mustn't overlook the middle way.
Could you explain what you mean by the middle way?
Right. So I said that he was interested in polarity, negative and positive polarities. Polarity is a big theme in Coleridge. But when you have two things, any two things who are opposite, you have something that's created by those two things, which is that middle thing between the two things. And grandfather's interest was always that middle thing that the two polarities had created. And we as humanity, our way through is through that middle way. be it whatever it is. But I'm talking about the spiritual world, but it could be applied to anything. You need to go through in that middle way. Otherwise, you're going to have problems.
Yeah. Boy, the more I learn of your grandfather, the more inspired I am. And quite honestly, the more comforted I am, because there's a element to that in the way I have endeavored to live, that middle way, that synthesis and harmony of the both and, as it were. The polarity tends, if one emphasizes one end or the other, it just leads to the kind of extremist disenchantment and revulsion toward the other in our sort of playground of ideas. I prefer the term playground as opposed to battleground, because we use far too many metaphors of violence in our culture.